Hey everyone, welcome back. And this is another movie review in preparation for a sequel that's going to be coming out next month. This is The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. I saw it in theaters back in 2012 when it actually came out. Okay, and now I'm ready to do my review of it. So yeah. So, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey is a 2012 epic fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Jackson. It is the first installment of a three-part film series based on the 1937 novel The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It will be followed by The Desolation of Smaug in 2013 and There and Back Again in 2014. Okay. It's directed by Peter Jackson, produced by Caroline Cunningham and Zane Weiner and Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson. Screenplays by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, Peter Jackson, and Guillermo del Toro. It's based on The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And for the cast, we have Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins, Ian McKellen as Gandalf the Grey, Kate Blanchett as Galadriel, Hugo Weaving as Elrod, Christopher Lee as Sermon the White. So yeah, Christopher Lee's in this movie. It's awesome. If you don't know, he's sometimes referred to as the second best Dracula. I guess he played Dracula in the Hammer Dracula films. Awesome. And Sylvester McCoy as Radgast the Brown. I'm trying to find Ian Holm as an old Bilbo Baggins. And Richard Armitage as Thorin Oakenshield. And yeah, that's really all I should have to say about that. So, what's the movie about in general? Well, the movie starts out, actually, with old Bilbo Baggins. Now, I have not seen the Lord of the Rings movies in years, so I don't really remember how big of a role Bilbo Baggins actually played, if any. Okay. I'm assuming he played some sort of a role, because he seems to remember shit from, like, he seems to be the type of person who was around during those times and remembers shit from the Lord of the Rings days, but he tells a story on paper, in this movie, and the other two movies, I assume, to tell his grandson about when he was just a young hobbit. And that's basically where the movie takes off. He starts writing it down, and then we get a flashback, and the entire movie's flashback based, and we don't get into the flashback throughout the entire movie, so I assume that the next two movies are going to pick up immediately with the flashback. So, yeah. And essentially, Bilbo Baggins, when he's really young, ends up meeting Gandalf the Grey, which apparently he knew him before that, even from some sort of fireworks thing or something. And, well, push comes to shove, lots of comedy in the beginning. Push comes to shove, he ends up going on a journey with Gandalf, one of the 5 wizards in the world, and a group of dwarves on an adventure in order to reclaim back the dwarves' homeland from the tyranny of the I forget what they're called. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna look here, see what these creatures are called. Orcs, yeah. From the tyranny of the orcs, because years ago, the orcs attacked the dwarves' homeland and basically killed their king and drove them out. And because of that, there's very few of them left. However, their leader, Thorin, who's the son of Thran, who was the previous king, now leads them, basically. I doubt he can lead Gandalf, because Gandalf's a fucking wizard, but still, though. Now, in terms of the plot, I thought it was done really well. This is another instance where I have not read the books. I've never read a Lord of the Rings or a Hobbit book, so, you know, I'm going into this as a person who's never experienced it before, and I don't know how faithful it is to the original, but as a person who's never experienced the Hobbit before in book form, they did a really great job immersing me into the story, because I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed this movie. All right, really, I could only see one major problem, which I'll mention it a little later on in this review. But you know, the plot is really solid. All of the characters are likable, and even like the orcs, who are seen as the villains here, they're still likable in some way. Okay, even their leader, you know, they're likable because of how evil they are. Basically, you know, I mean, if you can't even do that right, that's kind of pathetic. But yeah, so I didn't dislike any character, and we actually meet three wizards here. We meet, oh man, that one wizard that calls himself Sylvester McCoy, Radis the Brown, voiced by Sylvester McCoy, who prefers to be in the company of animals all the time. And then there's also the there was some sort of a other wizard that Gandalf reunites with once again when he and the dwarves goes to visit the elves. I forget what his name is though, and who he's voiced by. But so we basically meet three wizards. Apparently, there's 5 in the world. Here, there's 5 wizards that exist. All right, and I really hope that we get to meet the other 2 in the future films as well. So, yeah. So in terms of characters, I had no problems either. The music was just epic. This is one of those movies, and most movies do this now, where they use real orchestral music, you know, and it just sounds epic, booming, loud. It's fucking great. And the effects were also done very well in this film. Alright. Now, in terms of effects, there's no high-class effects. You know, effects basically consist of, you know, a forest catching on fire, or sunlight shining on trolls, basically killing it, you know, turning them to stone. What else? Or, you know, a necromancer. Actually, when the necromancer shows up and frightens the brown wizard, which is believed to be some sort of a sorcerer or something, I think. That's kind of the most of the probably. I would say maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the most difficult effects to pull off, and it still looks really good. Okay. So no problem with effects, no problem with cinematography. That was all done really well. The acting. All of the actors do their job so well. that I really didn't have any problems with it. Like, I didn't get the feeling that any of them were overacting or underacting or anything like that. So, yeah, in terms of acting, it was all solid as well. Now, you may think I'm kissing this movie's ass, but I'm really not. And I did have a problem with it. And that problem, there's just one issue I had with the movie, which actually goes back to the plot. Alright, and that is, this movie takes roughly an hour to get started. Now, the movie's nearly 3 hours long. It's a really large movie. And, after the hour, when they actually start on their adventure, I think all the rest of it, it's perfectly paced. Alright, because they don't waste any more time, but I felt that they could have narrowed it down to like a half an hour, or maybe a little bit over, to get the movie started and whatnot, to get Bilbo Baggins to go on the adventure with him and whatnot, which is basically what it was. It was starting the movie and getting into the flashback, and then just getting Bilbo Baggins to go on the adventure with them. I felt that they could have done that a lot quicker. Okay, and that's really my only issue. It was the pacing of the beginning of the movie. I felt it was way too slow. I'm not saying that I wanted to go by super fast, so you don't understand what's going on, and you're not connected to any of these characters. I felt half an hour, or maybe 45 minutes at the very most, would have been plenty of time if it was done right and to set up the movie. Alright, because then with the rest of the movie, like, the movie could have still been the same length, but the rest of the movie they could have spent showing other shit, Yeah, but that's really my only actual complaint about the movie. Other than that, it was a very enjoyable film. As I said before, I've never read the book, and I have not, nor have I read the Lord of the Rings books, and I have not watched the Lord of the Rings films in years. Okay, so I need to really go back and rewatch them now, don't I? But yeah. Anyways, though, final rating. I'm going to give The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey a final rating of 8.5 out of 10. Alright, because it was a very good film. I do really hope that the next film does better. I can't wait to see The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug in theaters next month. Well, and of course, when I do, I will review it. But it's going to be awesome. I've seen the trailer several times. I can't wait to see that fucking dragon in there. Seriously, a giant fucking dragon. Oh my god. So yeah. But anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. These after guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.